Hi, I'm Jay Heck from Laser Fantasy. And well, if you're not sick of laser stuff by now, you will be by the time I'm done. um, didn't really coordinate anything with the previous presenters, so if there's anything redundant, apologies there. But uh, I think the things actually mesh well together. Um, as previous people were saying, we do encourage live performances to make the shows more unique. It encourages, return visits when every show is not the same. Um, One of the biggest ways that we do that are the previous generation playback systems were hard drive or tape drive decks like these. Um, uh, Now all of our installations are computer based, using Pangolin and Beyond, like Joanne had mentioned. And one of the fundamental changes that you can use is adjusting your set lists. And so our best shows, our most popular shows, get updated fairly often. And so, for example, we've got about 2 hours of Beatles content. We've got like an hour and a half or 2 hours worth of Zeppelin content. And what that means practically is you can have multiple set lists. And so if you're running a show on a regular basis, you can change the set lists and make adjustments, every showing if you want. You kind of find that there's usually a handful of good set lists where the pacing works well. So we'll provide, so every time we install a show and deliver a show to you, we'll provide all of the songs from that artist, and then you can play around with it. And like I said, we do encourage you to use your other toys in the theater, your other projection systems and cove lighting, and and a lot of people will have fun with doing unconventional things, turning on the lights behind the dome at a dramatic part in the show and that type of thing. And so basically every theater kind of finds what techniques that they can pull off to spice things up, and doing the live presentation intro to let the audience know that you're not just pressing play on a show, even though sometimes, people, if you're pretty new, you might be just pressing play until you get the hang of it. But letting the audience know to make noise and to clap, and so that, the analogy is a little bit like going to a concert versus like a CD listening party, or an album listening party. When it's live, everybody feels a little more in the moment, and overall that kind of helps with them coming back and bringing more friends. Let's see. Kind of the next step from changing your set lists around is actually doing adjustments and performance changes to the show itself. And so the way we set up our shows in Beyond is based on the way that we set up our shows for live consoles in the past. So that way it becomes a lot easier to use the tools to manipulate the content and play around with the actual visual. So what Kat was demonstrating was using the other features in your dome to do live effects. But nowadays we can also directly manipulate the show itself. Let me switch on the camera here. I'll try and do some live cues. So take the brightness down here a little bit. So this is just kind of a simple animation to show you a little bit what types of things you can do. Let's see. So playing with some geometries, it kind of helps to have a simple image like this to be able to see what the geometry changes are doing. Let's see. And so these are, different symmetries you can do, and where a lot of times these will get played around with the abstract images. Stop that, try that. But you can also do overall color changes. And then you can start layering the effects and start having them kind of spice things up a little bit. Now, in this particular example, it wasn't super exciting, but when you're playing around with live shows like this, then you can, like right now, I'm affecting the second channel of the small orbiting image. But then I can select the central image and change its overall color. And the cool thing about the software is you can actually go in and build these effects and adjust these effects and experiment and kind of build out your workspace. Another type of effects that we use in our systems are optical effects. So I can turn on I just put on the star filter on the channel with the dots. And then let's see, I can put on the fuzz filter onto the channel with the waves. And so when you start combining the optical effects with the performance effects, as well as having, different live cues, you can create a lot of different changes to the overall performance of a show. A good example would be if you don't like the particular, or you want to make adjustments to a particular scene, like make it go all red. And so the pre-programmed sequence might be very, very colorful, but you say, I want to make this much more moody. You can do those kinds of changes live, and it's pretty cool. Let's see. The next thing I wanted to talk about is using laser effects to support your other presentations. So for example, using a laser cursor to highlight something from your other projections, or using lasers to put technical data up over another projection. Because the laser light feels to your eye different than video projections or your star projections. And so it's kind of a cool way to exaggerate or highlight something. That fuzz filter is pretty fuzzy. And then you've got, the ability to play sequences to support something that you might be talking about. So, you might have really good video presentations of the space program, but having a cue in laser light that comes at a opportune part in your presentation can really kind of amplify what you might be talking about. Let's see. And, you know, a laser show doesn't necessarily have to be just a full hour long, you know, or half-hour presentation. Once you have a laser system in your theater, you can use, like, say, a song module to kick off a presentation, you know, that you're doing live or with your other equipment, or as a finale. And having the flexibility, again, kind of with the set list style of having a lot of content at your fingertips to go, oh, we've got this special group that's coming in. I can choose, you know, these 3 songs and put them together as a little laser bit that fits with their, you know, whether it's a corporate event or something, or if it's a kids event, you can tailor it, your shows that way. And let's see, I've also got a video I'd like to play for you.
Laser fantasy has been...
Well, I hope that I've illustrated how flexible of a medium lasers are, and that's my presentation.